Hello and welcome to Cooking Your Way Through Life.
Today's episode is Cooking Your Way Through Priorities. And today's culinary side of things is what do we need to prioritize in the kitchen?
Cooking Your Way Through Life is a podcast combining knowledge of the kitchen and applying it to real-life situations. This podcast is all about understanding techniques to make things you already know even better. Topics from traveling on a budget, setting and achieving short and long-term goals, and of course, cooking.
On today's episode, we're going to talk about priorities. Are you prioritizing yourself? Because if you treat yourself like an option, then why do you expect other people to not treat you the same way? And that's in work, business, and pleasure. Also, we're going to talk about what do you need to prioritize in the kitchen, because when you're cooking, there are certain priorities you need to follow to make sure you have a successful recipe.
Please welcome Chef Hollywood.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Cook Your Way Through Life with me, Chef Hollywood. And today I want to talk about priorities. And not even just your priorities, but how you are treated in life and how people prioritize you. Because I think ultimately the biggest problem for me when I was getting myself together a little bit more, we all working on ourselves and I'm still working on me. But one of the biggest things that was hindering me or holding me back was the fact that I was allowing people to treat me as an option and I was treating them as a priority, which never works. Like it doesn't work. Like it's just kind of impossible to go into something where someone treats you as an option and you treat them as a priority, because the respect level is not there and it's never even. So we're going to talk about that today. We're also going to talk about, on the culinary side of things, what are you prioritizing in the kitchen? Because to make a successful recipe, to cook things a little easier, because we all are cooking to survive and we're all cooking to eat. But how can we make it a little bit easier for you? Also, I just realized I am recording on a cruise ship. You guys know, if you've been listening, that I work on ships. So you might hear noises here and there, but it's okay because the ship is still going. We are sailing out of Sydney as I'm recording this podcast episode today. So it is Saturday. I'm sailing out of Sydney, and it was a great weekend here in Sydney, Australia. Also, I want to talk about the fact that this is a solo episode. So shout out to all my guests who like a solo episode. I try to give you best of both worlds. I do just as many solo episodes every year that I do with co-hosts, and I try to make it even. And it's not only just to please my listeners, of course, but also it helps me, because on the solo episodes, I can kind of just be me with you guys, just me and you, and just talk however I want to talk and do whatever topics I want to talk about, go in deep or keep it very shallow, however I'm feeling that day. But also when I'm with co-hosts, it allows me to really have a deeper understanding of some of the things I want to talk about too. Because sometimes I don't want to just have my opinion. I want to have somebody else's opinion. And that's how I go through life anyway. So cooking way through life. Anyway, jumping into today's topic right out the rip, I'm going to start with the side of things that is the juiciest part, which is going to be the personal side of things. Then we'll talk about the job side of things and career side of things with priorities later on. So with the real life love, liking, whatever category that you fall into side of things, right out the rip, if someone doesn't prioritize you, it's because you allow it. And that is a hard pill to swallow. And that is something that I had to learn. That's something that you have to learn, because it's easy to blame other people. But at some point, you got to stop blaming them and look at yourself. Because if you are allowing someone to treat you as an option, they're going to treat you as an option. And especially if you are already prioritizing them. So they're getting the best that you can provide daily. You're pouring into them. You're constantly putting them ahead of everything else. And then they're just being like, oh yeah, by the way, I forgot. Oh, yeah, I got to text old girl because, it's almost bedtime. I ain't talked to her in 2 days, whatever. It's really because you are allowing it to happen. If you say something, then I think, automatically the fear is that maybe they'll leave. But in the grand scheme of things, and I know it hurts sometimes in the beginning, but in the grand scheme of things, if someone leaves because you asked them to prioritize you, it was never going to work. it was never going to get better. It was never going to be amazing because prioritizing you is like the minimum that they should be doing if they're trying to make an effort into whatever you're doing, you know? Um, I'm recently single, and part of it was the fact that, yeah, it was not equal when it came to priorities. I'm always going to prioritize whoever I'm talking to, but I was definitely not being prioritized, like, and not being prioritized to the point where it didn't affect me at first, but then it slowly started to affect me. And I think that happens too sometimes because depending on what you're doing in your life, like I travel a lot and I'm not stationary. And so like I figured not being a priority all the time would not be so bad because I'm literally on a ship. I'm on a ship right now. And I was like, but for me, I really like when I like somebody, when I fall in love, like I'm in it. And so if I start prioritizing you and then I'm in love and then you don't prioritize me, that's when it becomes a problem. Because now it's just like you can't even attempt to meet me where I'm like at. So the respect, once again, I just feel like the respect is very low. And at that point, it's nothing we can really do because I mean, once I lose respect for you, I don't really know what else there's little to do once respect is gone. And I mean, yeah, that's pretty much what it is. So, but not talk about my situation too much. We just talking about it in general, guys. But speaking of situationships, that is a big one too because we do live. Drake said it best. We live in a generation of not being in love and not being together, but it sure make it feels like we're together because we afraid to see people with other people. So you want to have that person in your life. You want to have all the things that person offers you, but you don't want to actually do the work to be committed to them. And that's why when you think about a situationship is just comfort without commitment. And most of the time it's only comforting for one party. And it's usually the party that doesn't want commitment. And the other person is just there. People give just enough to keep you around. Like it's like they don't want you to leave, but also they don't want to pour into you that you feel special and you want to stay all the time. So it's just like, ooh, I think they're about to leave me. Let me just pour a little bit. So it just give just enough. And honestly, it's like you're accepting these crumbs and you're calling it potential. And potential is dead. Like, shout out to potential, but she dead, y'all. Like she dead. I'm sorry. Like we cannot give potential what is like the driving wheel here. Like we can't let potential drive the boat. No pun intended, because I'm literally on a ship. But you can't let potential drive the boat because potentially it will work out, but potentially it won't. And you can't live your life based on potential. I had a realization here recently because I did just go through a breakup and I am completely single now. But like, I am very, very conservative. I mean, that's a harsh word to say, but I feel like I'm very conservative when it comes to relationships. And I said it because I realized that I'm super easy and super like easygoing. I just like to like the person likes me. Let's try to make this work, and that's it. These whole like friends with benefits, situationships, special friends, it's just too much. Like you gotta go through people having secret lives, people lying all the time, people like withholding information, hiding stuff, like no transparency, no honesty. Like it's just way too much. And all those things I value honesty, I value transparency, I value not having to hide stuff and like just being honest with what I'm doing. Like if I'm with you and I can't tell you what I'm doing today, I don't think I should be with you. Cause what are we doing? Like I'm grown. You know what I mean? Like I think that's the thing. Like, and there's no disrespect to anybody that's are in situationships doing things. Like you gotta do what's right for you. But like I think at my big age of 37, nah, 37, y'all. Nah, like my big age of 30, I don't really I'm just too simple for all this stuff. Like it's just too many rules and regulations and like you can't ask this question and you can't ask. I don't know. Like, I don't need all that. Like, I'm grown. Like, ask me what you want to ask me. I should be able to ask you what y'all want to ask you. That's it. Like, it can be so simple, but it's like, it's very difficult out here in this dating world. And I used to think people used to exaggerate, but no, people are weird, y'all. Like, people are weird. If you had, like, literally, if you are in a relationship right now, and that relationship is good. I don't even mean it is great. Like, that relationship is good. The person you with loves you. You love them. Y'all making it work. Hug that person and just be thankful that you got somebody that's not weird. Cause people are weird, y'all. They weird. Do not get back out in this dating world. It is nothing out here. They say there's plenty of fish in the sea. I'm on the ocean right now. There are not plenty of fish in the sea. Like, if you caught a fish, keep that fish. I was just playing. Nah, like, but for real, I mean, it is serious though. It is crazy out here for real, y'all. Like, so if you found somebody, like, hold on to them, cause yeah, the world is crazy. And when I say the world, I'm talking about these people. Let's get into some culinary side before I tell all my business on here. So see, this is what happens on solo episodes. I get very comfortable because there's no co-host here to kind of ring me in. See, when I got a co-host, if I start talking about myself too much, I transfer over to them and I be like, nah, you need to talk about you because I'm not talking about myself too much. But when they're not here, then I just start talking about me. So we're not going to get into that too much today. Let's get into the culinary side of things. So on the first side of the culinary side, I want to talk about mise en place, something I've talked about over and over and over on this podcast. But when we talk about priorities in the kitchen, your mise en place literally is your priorities in the kitchen. And if you don't prioritize prep, your whole dish suffers. You treat prep as a priority because if you treat it as an option, then optionally your dish might come out good. But you have to prioritize your prep. Like, chefs don't start cooking without setup. If you are disorganized when you're cooking, only thing it equals is stress and mistakes. And we want to avoid that at all costs. Like, what you prepare first shows what matters. And a lot of times what happens is we will say, oh, I can just prep this whenever. I can just get this ready. I don't need to prep. I need to just get everything out. And then you start cooking. And when you start cooking, a lot of times you can't just stop the process. Like, it's a go, go, go process. And then you don't have everything prepped and ready to go. And now your dish suffers because you didn't prioritize your prep. So if you don't set your life up properly, everything becomes reactive instead of, intentional. That's just like for your real life and for cooking. So definitely, like, just get to the point where you prioritize all your prep. The other thing I want to talk about is the cooking order matters because your timing is also a priority. Like, not everything gets attention at the same time. And this is very, very true in life and also in the kitchen. Like, your proteins versus your sauces versus your sides, they should not all be getting the same attention. You got to figure out what are you prioritizing, because what takes the most energy and what needs the most attention, basically, like while you're cooking. Overcooking usually happens because your priorities are completely off. If you're cooking shrimp, which cooks very fast, and then you're also making collard greens and rice. I don't know why this combination would be going together, but I'm just saying, theoretically, if you spend all your time focused on the collard greens, which needs to cook down and cook for a long time, but you don't really prioritize the shrimp, which can literally overcook and quickly become rubber, guess what? You're going to have horrible shrimp and okay cooked collard greens. Like, you have to figure out, like, what do I need to prioritize? And if everything is important, then nothing is important. And that's why when we talk about priorities, like, you can't prioritize everything and expect the quality to be great. So, yeah. Ooh, all right. Going back into it. Actually, that last thing is very, very relevant to what we're talking about today, because that also happens with people. Like, I was saying, I can't do friends with benefits and stuff no more. I cannot, because, and this is, I don't say names here anyway, but someone just told me, like, well, I prioritize everybody. No, you don't. You can't prioritize everybody because, like I said, if everything is important, then nothing is important. If everybody is important, then nobody is important. And if you try to prioritize everything, then quality goes down because you can't give out, like, you have 100%. 100% is it. you can't give out 100% 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. So yeah, like that is very much like good for you to remember and understand in cooking as well as your real life, because yeah, that works both ways. All right, on the second side of things, officially moving past the culinary side of things, let's talk about work relationships and how you treat or how you allow them to treat you. This is a little trickier than your actual like emotional or loving relationships, because unfortunately, unlike dealing with people who don't prioritize you and just are toxic, we do have to work. Like, unless you have a trust fund or unless you are someone who is financially stable already, like you need a job. The thing is that companies treat people like temps until proven otherwise. And that's just across the board. Like most companies, I won't say all companies. I'm in a very great situation right now where I really, really think that my company is amazing and I love it. Oh, see, y'all hear these noises out here? Hold on just a second. I wanted to keep that in because I think people do think that I'm like not lying, but like I'm really not recording on a cruise ship sometimes. That was literally we are in rough water. We're not rough water, but just leaving Sydney. The waters are a little choppy. And I'm in a cabin, like I'm in my stateroom, and my cabinets were opening and closing. So yeah. Anyway, what I was gonna say is that speaking of the companies like sometimes treat you that way, but I'm in a very good situation. Like currently, I really love my company. They treat me amazingly. My boss is amazing, but that is not always the regular. Like I've had plenty of companies that are like this is not the regular. The problem is that most of the time, just like I was saying earlier, I thrive in a relationship where respect is mutual and the love is there. That's what we all look for in a company for work. But what most of us get is a situationship where the temp job is like what we have. You are in this situationship with this company. You are getting no benefits, no security, no promotions, and you're working full time, but getting part time treatment. And that is like what will drain you, what will make you basically just get tired, is just want to leave because you don't feel valued. And that's the thing, like feeling safe and valued and just feeling like you matter is what really like all of us really want. Like no matter the situation that you say, like no matter the name of what you're looking for, those are things that I feel like humans thrive for. And if a company's not prioritizing you, then you don't feel any of those things. The problem is that if they wanted to make you a priority, they would have already done it. And so we stick with these companies for way longer than we need to, hoping and wishing that they're going to prioritize us one day. And that's also sticking around for potential. Now, here's the difference between the companies and the person that you're with romantically. Like I said, most of us who don't have trust funds, me included, we need to keep working. So if you already know that you're in this loveless relationship with your company where you are basically in a situationship or you are friends with benefits and you're number 54 on the friends that they have, so they really don't care about you at all, you still have a couple choices. And one of them is that you can stick around and be upset and not feel great about everything, but you also can look for other jobs. And this is a big one, and I think millennials have really grasped this. And it's also very true to like relationships. I was joking when I was saying there's no other fish in the sea. There are good people out there. You just have to look for them. It gets frustrating. It gets frustrating after you keep dating, like, I don't want to say losers, but like you keep dating people that just like suck, like back to back. The man is like, oh my God, I still want to keep going out here. Well, the thing is that you don't really have to keep doing that like in the dating world. Like you can just take some break. You can just like do some me time, whatever. In the job world, like I said, you kind of need a job. So while you are at that job where they are definitely not prioritizing you, prioritize you and start looking for another job. And if you can't look for another job, if there's no other job, you have to stay at that job, start prioritizing yourself in other ways. Like You don't have to change your work ethic, but you can change your attitude and understand that going above and beyond for a job that goes below and never even reaches out to you, you don't put that energy in there. Stop pouring into cups that don't pour back into you. And that does not mean go into your job and don't do it. But it also means don't go into your job and give them like extra. Like don't overexert yourself. Don't volunteer for things. Like don't, like take those times and those days where you're volunteering and doing all this extra and pour back into yourself, because they really don't care. And they've shown you that over and over and over again. So yeah, it's just don't, the jobs always, the companies, I won't say that. The companies usually are definitely treating us like options. So prioritizing a job or a company that treats you like an option is just like prioritizing a person that treats you like an option. It does nothing but disappoint you in the end. So yeah. All right, let's get back into some culinary side things, because on this side, we're going to talk about the quality ingredients versus the cheap substitutes. Also very relevant to what we're doing today. Because the thing is what you choose reflects your standards. And cheap shortcuts versus the real ingredients it does not come across great. Like quality is always going to beat quantity. When you have to do quantity versus quality, it's because you don't think the quality is good enough. And your taste, like the taste automatically changes, is different than what you wanted. You can't expect premium results with low level inputs, and that never works. And so when you expect, like when you change it out and you are going for those cheap substitutions, it's never going to give you the same pleasure that you was going to get. And I say this to say that if you can't get the quality ingredients because of price or something's happening, then instead of trying to fill in cheap substitutions, pivot to a different dish, because it's better to have a different dish that still tastes amazing than to have a dish that's a cheap imitation of what you wanted and it tastes not where you want it to be. That's like not even what you want to happen that night. The last thing I want to talk about on the culinary side of things is overcrowding the pan, because too much never gets done right. Enough is never enough for some people. Check back to my last solo episode. So here's the thing. When we are overcrowding the pans because we're not prioritizing basically what we're trying to cook and understanding that, like, hey, I need to cook some scallops. And since the scallops need direct heat and consistent heat, I need to give myself extra time to do 2 batches. When you overcrowd that pan, now you get no sear, no caramelization, because the moisture builds up and everything steams. And instead of searing, you start to steam, which is not what we want. So you're trying to do everything, which ruins everything. So you do not want to do that. Like, it is pretty much one of those things where too many people give you too many distractions. And that's why I was talking about, like, for me, I can't do friends with benefits or like multiple situationships, because it's too many distractions, too many people. Like, I cannot get a nice sear on this steak if I have 6 steaks in the pan. So how can I expect to have a really quality conversation with this person if I'm trying to have the same conversation with 6 people in the same day? Like, it does not make sense for me, because some people do. I feel like most people don't, but I don't know. So yeah, just not prioritizing one thing properly, which is in this case, when we're searing things, it affects the entire dish. So make sure you are prioritizing what you're doing. Stop trying to get too much, and just enough is enough, guys. Enough is enough. So yeah. Whew. All right, guys. So this episode was interesting. I think to finish off this episode, a couple things I want to talk about. One is, people show you where you stand all the time. They do. They show you where they show you where you stand. They tell you who they are. The issue is that we don't believe them. So when people show you where you stand in their lives, believe them. When people like show you who they are, believe them. Like, priorities aren't spoken, they're shown. through actions. So if you feel like you're not a priority, it's because the actions of the person you with have made you feel unwelcome, unwanted, and unimportant. When you feel like you're not a priority at work, it's because your boss or your supervisors make you feel unwanted, unwelcome, and unimportant. And it's because of how they're treating you, So when people treat you that way, you have to take it in and just realize if you want to continue with that job, you want to continue with that career, you want to continue with that person, what do you want to do in the end? And yeah, start choosing you the way you want others to choose you. You can't expect anybody to choose you and prioritize you if ultimately you are not prioritizing yourself. And if you accept it, they're going to keep doing it. That's at work. That's in business. That's in pleasure. That's in situationships. That's in relationships. Whatever you're choosing to journey on in this life, you have to make sure that you are only accepting what you want. And it's easier said than done. Like I said, I do feel like I have matured a little bit and I've grown a lot, but I mean, I just went through a breakup. So obviously I'm still a work in progress. We all are. So I hope that you are prioritizing yourself. I hope that you are only accepting people who prioritize you. And I hope that if you are working somewhere that they don't prioritize you, that you are going to be somewhere soon that they do, or you figure out a way to change that at work. All right, guys. Thank you as always for listening. I will be back next week with more episodes, and have a good day.
Thank you for listening to Cooking Your Way Through Life with Chef Hollywood.